It's an industry that I generally love. I have a passion for. I eat, sleep, I live for fitness.
No, you need to be obsessed. You need to wake up, think about it. You need to go to bed, think about your clients, think about your progress, think about what you can do better.
Genuinely, just be patient and take your time. That is you've got to take it all in the right steps. You've got to nail what you do in person before you go online.
I don't like to talk about fear. The fears is usually something that makes your worries real.
You are listening to the Coaching Ignited show, where we bring you stories and insights from coaches, fitness professionals and industry experts to help you expand your business and reach your goals. If you're a new listener, thanks for joining us. My name is Alex Povey. You can subscribe to the podcast on all your favorite apps, including Spotify and iTunes. The Coaching Ignited movement is on a mission to help coaches and personal trainers increase their sales and reach their full potential. If you wanted to find out more, please head over to CoachingIgnited.com. And if you wanted to connect with us on social media, all the details can be found in the show notes. Now let's get into today's show.
So today we've got Rob Humphreys on the show, and he's a personal trainer based over in Liverpool. And he's just going to give you a quick backstory about who he is and what he does. And just want to thank you, first of all, for being here, Rob. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, no, thank you. I've wanted to be on a podcast for some time now, so it's something I can take off my list. So I really appreciate it.
So just give people a backstory, give people a context of where you are, where you're training, how long you've been in the industry, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so in a quick brief, obviously my name's Rob. I'm only 20 years old, but I've been a PT within the industry for over 3 years now. I've been training myself since I was about 14, 15. And I'd like to think of myself as an evidence-based coach. So I basically tell people how it is. I don't lie to them. I obviously sell to them in an ethical way. Obviously follow, learn from, and get educated from a lot of the big influencers within the industry. So like Phil Learney, Mark McDonald, hopefully that rings a couple of bells with some of your listeners. And yeah, like I said, I've been doing this since I was 16, 17, and I love it. Yeah, love it.
So what was the spark that kind of got you into fitness? What was that key moment, if there was one?
Yeah, there definitely was one. So basically, I never aligned with any sports growing up. I was never into football. I was never into any sport at all. It just bored me. But in the same breath, I really enjoy being active, but basic. So cycle and climbing. I was a huge superhero fan growing up, especially Spider-Man. So I used to love climbing and running and being active, but applying that to a specific sport just didn't interest me. And so didn't really do anything actual seriously physical growing up, just like I said, messing about, climbing and all that kind of stuff. And then around the age of 14, 15, two of my friends were actually going to the gym and they invited me along sometime. And despite as active as I was, I had a huge appetite. So I used to love just eating. So I wasn't the slimmest and fittest of kids. I just thought I was a superhero, but got a chubby one. But with that said, because I had a bit of beef on my frame, I was quite strong for my age. So they were obviously doing the bench press. And so first day there, being a young male, obviously the first thing we done was the bench press. And it wasn't a huge amount of weight, but given the age, I think it might have been about 40 kilograms in total. And I could just rep that out. And that kind of made my friends stand back a little bit. And they were like, where did that come from? And that for me was the spark. That was I'm actually good at something. Because again, prior to this, I had no skill set with coordination. So football was out. There's nothing worked for me. And that was the first time that I took to something naturally. And again, it kind of made my friends stand back a little bit. And that for me was just addicted. I just loved it from the first rep.
So after getting that experience, what was the next step? How did you actually get into personal training? And what was the first 12 months of your business like?
Yeah, so obviously from that initial experience, I knew there and then that I was going to be physically active for the rest of my life, even in a career. So to fast forward a little bit, I basically applied at the gym I'm at now. And I basically applied there just simply wanting to get my foot in the door. And I literally applied, again, we're talking 15, 16 years old, to literally just clean the place. I'll come in, I'll clean the toilets, I'll re-rack weights. I don't mind. I just want to get my foot in the door of a gym. Because
this is what I've built, basically.
For sure. Yeah, exactly. And the owner of the gym, which I still work at, the owner's name's John, and he saw a lot of potential in me because he obviously saw that passion. He saw that I was taking shape a little bit, and so he offered me an opportunity to get qualified as a PT. And it was a 12-month course where I'd obviously be working for a lot of it for free and a lot of it for very little pay, but it was essentially in return to get qualified. So it saved me, essentially like, £3,000. So I was more than willing to do it. And so again, fast forward 12 months, qualified at the age of 16 and just started from there. And literally started out charging people £12 an hour. Like for me, it was like that passion was just so strong that the financial sides of it, again, given my age, it wasn't like a huge thing that I was really thinking about. It was just, as long as it's more than minimum wage, then I can do what I love, then like happy days. So I started out charging like £12 an hour. And then over the 3 years, it's obviously built up with experience and qualifications and this, that, and the other. But yeah, first 12 months was obviously hard. I kind of picked up my first client because with doing this 12-month course and helping out, I was doing a few classes. And at the end of one class one day, there was this woman, and she's obviously been seeing me there the past couple of weeks and months. And she just said, what's the deal? Like, what are you? Are you like a PT? Because again, and this is like, if I was to give you a picture, this was your typical hardcore gym. It was a warehouse. There was leaks in the ceiling. It was cold. There was punch bags. It was just like your Rocky style gym. So there was no like billboards. There was nothing to really let people know at the time that I was a PT. And so she just kind of asked, and I just said, yeah, I'm a PT. She was like, how much do you charge? Obviously that being the first objective for most people, and I just said £12. So she jumped on it. I bet
she snapped your hand off at 12 quid.
Oh, mate, literally, I didn't even finish my sentence, and she was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And so started with her, and she's still a client to this day. And then from her, she referred to her mum, and then they started coming together, gave them like a little bit of a deal. Her mum still trains with me to this day. And then from there, it's just social media, referrals, word of mouth, results, good service, and yeah, just built it up from there. But it's always hard at the start. You've also got to get your name out there.
Yeah. So in terms of like those clients that you've got now, the ones that you picked up at the early days, right? And that girl you mentioned and her mum. What do you think your secret to keeping them, right? Because that's a great client retention. Like that's 3 years. You've kept the same client for 3 years. Like how? Like what have you done to make sure that they stay with you?
Yeah, retention's like huge. And I'm not going to say even lie to people. Like obviously, like a handful of clients have come and gone, whether that's down to state of change, readiness, all that kind of stuff. A lot of the time, it's like personality. Like I think one of the hardest things for new PTs now, and it's hard because you can't teach it, is being like a people person and like generally caring for someone. And that's something that you never get taught. You don't get taught that in your level 3. You only get taught that through experience. And there's a really good quote which says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think it comes down to, again, generally caring about the client, putting them first. Even it shouldn't be as basic. It should be like standard, but a lot of PTs don't do it. Even as simple as like truly tailoring the workout to the client based off what they've told you, based off their occupation. So many PTs nowadays will still give the same workout plan to every client. And I've actually seen it where clients have come in hour on hour and I've literally witnessed the same workout back to back. And, these people are paying you, a fair bit of money. PT is a luxury thing. They deserve to get a workout tailored for them specifically. And you've took into consideration everything that they've told you. Again, occupation, what they like, what they dislike. There's nothing worse than seeing someone being put through a workout. You can just see in the face that they hate it. And so I think, and that's the big thing with trainers, that adherence is the biggest part. And that obviously links directly in with client retention. If you can make the client actually enjoy the workout whilst getting results, then, why would they leave you? Unless you're, again, you're providing a terrible service, you don't care about them, you're forgetting the name, you're forgetting the kids' names, just caring about them. Like a good little thing I do is obviously each session's planned out prior to them actually coming in, and I'll have a note section within their program, and within general chit chat, I'll just make a note of whatever they're talking about, whether that's like, it's my son's birthday next week, or I've got a party coming up this weekend. Make notes about it and adjust things accordingly. So whether that's, I've just got off a 12-hour night shift, it would make sense to reduce the intensity, volume, whatever of that session, rather than just being like, oh, well, tough, I'm gonna put you in the ground today. Really care about the client. I think that stands out, as sad as it is, because it's a service-based industry. Like, that should be standard, but being that person, it makes you stand out because, again, the client knows that you actually value them. And yeah, that's just, I'd say that's the secret if there was one.
Yeah, I mean, I totally relate to that because I try and kind of run our business the same way. Like, I kind of want to treat clients like family and friends because at the end of the day,
for sure,
you're going through a journey together. Like, you might as well be friends with these people. And if you can't gel and you can't get on in a friendship way, then maybe you're not the right people to train together. There's plenty of other people out there where you can have these good relationships with, right? But let's look at like some of the lessons that you've learned whilst becoming a personal trainer, because you've been in the industry for 3 years. You must have learned quite a lot. You must have made some mistakes and had some lessons. Like, talk to me about those sorts of things.
Yeah, well, I don't know where to start, really. Mistakes. I mean, let's be honest, like, if you're starting out, you are going to make mistakes, and that's obviously where you're going to learn. Whether that's something as simple or as innocent as double booking clients, so being organized, being very time management. I'm not sure what else to. It's hard because when you go through the motions of it, it's just like it's natural instinct. So to think about what it is I do is actually quite difficult. I mean, a lot of it's come from obviously paying for educational resources. So one of the biggest influences in my life has been Phil Learning's ACA, which is the Advanced Coaching Academy. And there's a business acumen in there, and that kind of really teaches you about things that you wouldn't know. Even things like social media. Like, I didn't realize the importance of social media until doing that course. And again, time management. I can't think what other mistakes.
So maybe it's just the fact that overlooking the business side of things, because I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, right? They kind of overlook that it's a business, not just a personal training service. You need to be able to sell the product. So if you can come into the industry. I can think of now that you mention it, it's coming back to me. Okay, so your clients aren't you, right? So again, a lot of us are in this because we're passionate about fitness, and that's great. But you need to be passionate again about customer service and about, the client. And I think a mistake that a lot of people make at the start is thinking that their client is them. And so that, they think that their client is there and ready to, meal prep, or they're, willing to go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. And that's not the case. Like, again, if you're working with General Pop, you've got to think where the kind of hierarchy of, where the gym is based within the hierarchy of priorities in their life. And I think a lot of people overlook of how it's not really a priority to them as much as it is to us, So, and that kind of also links to the stuff that you post on social media. So at the start, I'd always post like my training and my results rather than the client's training and the client's results. And I think a big mistake is a lot of trainers make it all about them, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll still post some of my training now and again. But if I go onto your Instagram or Facebook and it's all just about you and it's your progress and it's your training and it's, look how dedicated I am, General Pop can't relate to that. So therefore, they're not going to, you need to be relatable. And that goes back to being a people person. If people can't relate to you, you don't have the same problems, and you just expect them to have meals at the ready, to take them everywhere with them, to go to the gym, to sacrifice family time. Like, you're so far mistaken. It's unreal. But I think that takes a long time to figure out because we're so passionate and everything's like meal prep. But like, all that matters to us is looking the way we want to look or performing the way we want to look. And we forget that our clients have other more important things. They have kids, they have work, typically a 9-to-5 job. They're stressed, they get really bad sleep. And so you bring them in and you give them this, you've just learned how to do supersets and drop sets and training to failure. You've started watching, Dorian Yates,
and you're giving them everything at once, and you're not taking into account, again, it goes back to caring about the client. You're not taking into account that they're not you. They're not going to get the recovery that you're getting. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes a lot of trainers make is, again, thinking that, their client is just like them and they're literally the polar opposite.
Yeah, so there's a client expectation, isn't it? Expecting that
For sure.
the client's going to do X, Y, and Z, when in reality, they've not got the mindset or approach to fitness and training as you have as a personal trainer. So it's kind of like a bit of a disconnect, right? And it just comes down to understanding your clients better, really, doesn't it? So in terms of like starting the business, like what were some of the key things that you did to make sure that you keep growing? Because like it can be difficult first starting out, but you must have like thought of things to do and come up with strategies and come up with like different ideas to get clients. Like talk to us about those type of things. Like what were they?
Yeah, so I've done a few things. Obviously, elephants in the room. I'm fully aware that I started very young. It's going to be a lot different for someone who's in the 40s with a mortgage and kids if they're just starting out. So I'm not going to be naive, and I could afford to be dirt cheap to start with. I could afford £12 an hour because my outgoings at 16, 17 were mobile phone bills and keeping. That was it. So I could afford to be quite cheap. But some of the strategies I done was, one of them was I got loyalty cards. So I went to Vistaprint, made them myself, and essentially I got the idea from, well, everywhere does them. Costa does them. I think that's where I got it from. So I'd get like a 10 stamp little card, and for every session that they'd come to get a stamp, and the 10th one would be free. And that was to be an incentive for retention. I think there was actually a 5th one and a 10th. Like I think number 5, they got like a free protein shake. So I'd take that out of my pocket and I'd pay for it. But you do the maths, they've spent like £70-80 and I've gave them like £2 back. But again, it was to create retention, and then the 10th one would be free. So I done that. I also done like 2-for-1 deals. So again, going back to that first client, she was paying like £12 an hour for herself. I just said, listen, if you want to bring a friend or a family member along, I'll do it for £10 each. So it's cheaper per client, but it's more per hour for you as the trainer. So it's like a win-win all around, right? So I did that. What else did I do? I used to do competitions on Facebook quite a lot. So they could be anything. Like I did quite a fun one not too long ago. And I'd do certain fitness challenges and I'd have people guess things. So for example, the air assault bike, them, like the absolute devil of a piece of kit. I'd have the camera facing head on. I'd go max effort, and I'd have people guess within the comments what my speed might have been. And my trait of thought going into this was, and again, it's quite wrong looking back, because going back to what I said before about, it's not about me. But one, I thought as a byproduct, it's showing people that I practice what I preach and I'm into fitness and I do things myself. And then 2, it gets engagement, because, you'd get 20-30 comments of people trying to guess how many miles per hour I got to. And then obviously, at the end of it, you pick a winner. Whoever got the closest to within 1 or 2 miles per hour or whatever it may be, they then get a free PT. From there, you've got content, obviously with their permission. Do you mind if I get a few recordings of, whatever it is you're doing? And then obviously, fingers crossed, they might continue with personal training with you. And then anything like that where you're doing something for free, that's your opportunity not to sell, but to literally give them everything, like impeccable service. You get there on time, you've got high enthusiasm, you take into account thoroughly what they actually want to do. You're not just putting them through a workout, you're putting them through something that is for them. So that's your opportunity to really, make an example of what you have to offer for them. So obviously, from there, there's a potential upsell. But I think, again, a lot of mistake that a lot of trainers make is they get too desperate. They're in that kind of scarcity zone where they're like, I've got to make a sale. And it completely puts people off. Like, again, I was quite lucky because of my age, but I could afford to be relatively laid back. But even to this day, I still am. Like, I'm like the least salesy person you'll ever meet, because I had a bad experience actually when I got into fitness. I was 16 when I my first commercial gym, and it was LA Fitness. And again, joined there, got a couple of free PTs, and again, I'm only 16, done this free PT with this guy, and then at the end of it, he said, if I just take a seat, I'll be with you in a second. And he came over and he basically had his sales script and his prices. And he's like, right, I'm 25 for the hour, blah, 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 blah. And it's worth mentioning as well that the workout that we'd done was completely winged. It wasn't tailored to me at all. And then
So
he goes
it was
on
shit,
to,
basically.
oh mate, it was awful. It was awful. And then he goes to sell to me, and you know, I'm fully aware, like I was like, mate, I'm 60, like I don't have the finances to pay you 25 an hour for multiple hours a week. And it just left a really sour taste in my mouth. And I think from there, I thought, you know, if I'm ever going to be a PT, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to sit people down, you know, after a free incentive and, you know, try hard sell them basically. So I've always left, do you know what I mean? I've always left it. I mean, obviously there's a time and place for selling. It's a job and a business at the end of the day, but I've always made it clear that it's the client's choice. And I've always been really transparent. I've said, look, it's up to you. So at the end of like a free PT session, I would say, look, it's up to you. I'm not going to force you. If you want to continue, it's this, X, Y, Z prices. But if not, no worries. Don't worry about it. And I think just giving them that kind of guarantee of like, there's no pressure, that made a big difference because have you heard of something called the, what's it called? The can't remember. Reciprocity effect? Something like that. Have you heard of that before?
Pretty much like karma, isn't it?
Yeah, for
similar,
sure. It's
similar thing.
Yeah,
like what you put out, you get back.
Yeah. And the reciprocity effect is basically like if you do something for free and you're kind about it and you're just a good person in general, people are more kind of obliged to want to, you know, return the favor. So if you're just hard
100%.
selling,
Yeah.
So I think I was always aware of that, and so just saying, look, here's a free session. If you want to continue, it's this. If not, no worries. You've had a good session. Off you go. They're like, no, do you know what? Like I saw the value in that. Like, yeah, let's do it. So that's something else I've done. What else I used to do?
Just on that point there, I think it comes down to the value though as well. Like
100%.
You're giving up front
100%.
You're giving upfront value, right? So when you give someone upfront value, you give without any sort of commitment attached to it. You're kind of letting people see like what you're worth.
Exactly.
And
that's exactly
you
it.
are kind of subtly positioning yourself as the person that they want to train with, but you're taking the pressure out of the situation to make it okay for them to say no to you, but you're also making it easy for them to say yes to you because there's no pressure involved. But it's the value, value.
Yeah, and again, they've just witnessed what you have to offer. If you give it all, not necessarily. Look, here's the thing as well. Like, even if they don't buy from you and they walk away, you've planted that seed so that in 6 months' time, when they do need someone, they're going to come to you. Not only that, but if they have a friend or family that's talking about they need to get in shape and like, oh, I need a PT, guess who they're going to recommend? If you've been good to them, you've shown, again, upfront value, then you're always front of mind to them. So you never really lose, you know? So, yeah, you've nothing to lose with giving value for free. Like, nothing at all.
No, I think everyone should lead with value. Like, leading with value is the best way to build a business anyway, because that's what you want to do. You want to kind of over-deliver on the value. And people then will see that you're a genuine person, and they'll see your expertise, and they'll feel more comfortable with working with you. I see a lot of people trying to hold back all their good stuff, trying to kind of like
just give them a taste and not the full thing.
Yeah, but they're trying to monetize every single piece of information when that's not really how the world works. Like it's give and take. You've got to give people some value. You've got to let them see like what they can gain in order for them to be enlightened, to go, actually, that's something I do actually want. Same with test driving a car. Like, you've got to test drive a car before you buy it. Don't just hit the forecourt and go, yeah, I'll take that one. It's the same thing. And I think a lot of people overlook that when it comes to the personal training side of things.
Yeah, I literally give like so much for free. Like, even if I'm doing a social media post, I'm not going to be there. Like, I'll give them like a little bit of information, but like I'll literally give everything I've learned, everything I know. Because here's the thing, again, you're displaying what you know. You're displaying that you have value. If you're there just giving them a little bit, then it's just not the way. It's just not the way at all. Just give them everything you've got. Yeah. Because what they're paying for is that structure. Like, you can give them all the pieces and you can give them all the information, but you're then there to be hired to put it in order for them, essentially, you know?
Yeah. So let's talk about your social media, because obviously that's how we connected. So we both agree that it's a powerful way to kind of promote yourself and get known and build a brand. and kind of just create more opportunities for yourself. And you do tons of videos, you pump out a ton of value, just like we're speaking about. But like talk to me about it. Like, what's your thought process behind doing it? Is it just something you enjoy? Is it like a strategical thing? Like talk to me about the social thing.
So I've only really started doing like video content the past like year or so. I generally enjoy it. Like, I think again, a lot of this will always come back to passion. I generally, like, I could talk all day about nutrition and training, and so being on video, for me, it's just like venting what I know, and I enjoy it. So there is a passion side of it. So video content for me now has become my favorable like way of doing it, because again, people get to see me face to face talking what I have to offer. Again, it's social proof. People know what I'm talking about. I like to add a lot of humor into my content. So humor appeal is huge, because another thing that gets overlooked as a PT business is personality. And it doesn't matter how good you are. If someone generally does not like spending time with you, it doesn't matter how great you are, they're not going to spend 2 or 3 hours a week with you. So you need to be likable. You just do. And I'm not saying I'm like this perfect person. People love spending time with me, but you need to have, a little bit of like banter about you, a little bit of conversation. It's going to be very, not impossible, and this is just my opinion, but it's going to be very difficult if you're quite introverted and you can't make a conversation, you can't keep a conversation going, because again, it doesn't matter how great you are, people spending up to 3 hours a week with you, if not more. So you need to get on. And so I try kind of transverse that into my content. So I do make it quite funny. I make it likable. I'll add little clips in there from film clips just to make the engagement a little bit better. But there's always a message behind it. It's always there to, again, add value and actually give someone the answer from what they're asking. So what I tend to do is my content ideas will either come from something I've just read about or watched or listened to or learned, or the questions I get on the gym floor, or through inboxes or from clients. Because James Smith, whether listeners have heard of him or not, he's quite big now. I'd be surprised if you haven't heard of him. He's quite controversial, but I went to a seminar of his, and one of the things he said to me was, if one client asks you a question, whatever it may be, I can guarantee you that another 10 people are also wondering it, but they're just too nervous to ask. So as soon as someone asks you a question, do you know what I mean? So even if it's something like, is bread bad? If Sharon's asking that, I can guarantee you that Joe and Dave and everyone else is wondering the same thing.
Yeah,
so,
totally. So it gives you a good outlet to talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, as a PT, it's going to be very hard to ever run out of content ideas. You get it all the time, and so I'd make a video on that, and I'd imagine. So again, I'd imagine my avatar, i.e., the client I'm talking about. That's who the video will be for. It'll be for that person who's asked it. So it'll be in their language that they understand, which is huge. Again, that comes down to really knowing who your avatar is. It'll be quite funny, so they engage with it. But again, at the end of the day, their question is getting answered. They can walk away from that with value. And then once again, I've planted that seed, because they're going to share it. And what you'll find is people will agglomerate with people like them. So they're going to share it with their friends. And now their friends, they understand it because it's in their language, and it's what they also wonder on a day-to-day basis. And so a lot of thought does go into it, more than people might think. But there's just so much value from putting content out. And it doesn't have to be video. Like, you need to do what works for you, whether that's writing articles, maybe it's creating like memes. But for me, again, being quite like a people person, I enjoy being on camera and talking directly to the audience.
Got you. So we've probably got like a couple more questions to squeeze in, but I just want to throw you a little bit of a curveball, because there's a company there's a company that's getting slammed in by everyone on social at the moment, and you've probably got your own views about it if you're a personal trainer. But what are your views on Herbalife?
Fuck's sake. Terrible, mate. Terrible. Like, I think people need to realize what an MLM scheme is. It's not illegal. It's not a pyramid scheme per se, but it's all based off making commission. And the Herbalife coaches, in quotation marks, they're not qualified. Sure, there might be the odd one or two that are actually PTs, but let's be honest, they're probably selling that shit because they're not too good at the other stuff. But the majority, they've got no idea what they're talking about. And again, it's just designed to make a quick buck. And at the end of the day, things like that, they're supplements. And if you were to look at the hierarchy of importance, it would go energy balance, calories, macronutrients, micronutrients, meal timing, and then supplements. Like, supplements is the last thing you need to be worried about. So whenever someone's selling supplements as the, at the forefront, like that's the be all and end all, it's just a massive red flag. Yeah, like don't ever buy Herbalife. Don't listen to the coaches. Like, unfollow any. Like, if your friends from 2 years ago starts popping up about an opportunity, unfollow them. Just unfollow them.
Cut them loose, guys. Cut them loose. Awesome.
Bullshit. Such bullshit.
It's a big topic at the moment, mate. So in terms of like wrapping things up at the moment, what would be sort of your final words? Anyone maybe looking to get into personal training, maybe starting out as young as you did, any words of advice to those people looking to get started in the industry?
Patience. Like, it goes back to like delayed gratification. Like, just because you're qualified, it does not mean there's going to be a line of people waiting for you. Like, this takes time. Just focus on getting your first client and just giving them everything. Try not get kind of like client greedy and get one client. Yeah, okay, you're good there. Where's the next one? Give that first client like everything you've got, all your nutrition knowledge, wherever it may be. Don't bullshit people. Like, only speak at the level you're at. With that said, you need to keep learning. Like, again, just because you're level 3 qualified, like, you're literally just starting. You need to continue educating yourself. So a few kind of people to throw out to you: Phil Lerney, Martin McDonald, James Smith, Alan Aragon, Eric Helms, just to name a few. Like, start following what I'd call evidence-based practitioners and unfollow the sales gurus who are trying to tell you that, lemon water is going to detox and fat cell. Like, unfollow them people, get your path clear, get your mind straight, learn the craft, and at the same time add as much value as you can to the client, both in person, but also on social media. Like, if you're not on social media, I hate to say it, but like, no one knows about you. Sure, the people within your facility might, a couple of clients might, but outside of that jurisdiction, like, no one knows who you are. You need to get yourself either on front of a camera or behind an article or something where you can, again, add value, get people to share it, get your friends, get your family to share it. Again, make sure what you're saying is factual. Don't just make up stuff up. Learn what you know, what you do know, share it, and never stop learning. Like, again, I've been in it since 14, 15. I've been learning since then, and I still I'm still learning. I'm about to do a nutrition course next year, which is just under £2,500. Like, you need to be willing to invest in you, because at the end of the day, as a PT, you're the driving force for your business. Like, it all comes down to you. So just give it your all.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate you being here and doing this podcast. I'm going to stick some links in the description so people can find you, particularly on Instagram, guys. So you should go check him out because he's got some awesome videos. But where can people find you? Just let everyone know where they can find you, bud.
Yeah, so I only really use Instagram, like Alex said, and Facebook, and they're both under Rob Humphreys Coaching. Instagram will be Rob_Humphreys_coaching. And I kind of tend to put content on both of them. Again, I'm not really on Twitter. I'm on YouTube as well, just Rob Humphreys PT, and I kind of see YouTube as a vault for all the video content I do. It will be uploaded directly to Facebook and Instagram, but obviously as the news feeds moves on, it goes to the bottom. So everything's uploaded directly to YouTube as a vault. So all the video content I ever do is up there. And again, that's just where I tend to add value, educate the people that I work with. So there's some good stuff on there, definitely.
Great stuff. Thank you so much, Rob. Really appreciate it. And enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll chat soon.
Definitely. All right, take care. Thank you.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning into the show. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. If you did, head over to your favorite app and leave us a short review. I'd really appreciate that. And if you wanted to learn more about our products and services, head over to CoachingIgnited.com. And if you wanted an awesome website built for your coaching business, head over to our partner company, SavectaMedia.com. That's all from me. See you soon.